Bam ba bam 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 ba bam 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 ba 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 bam bam ba bam bam. The secret to dropping 4,000 damage games is right here in this video. So if you have yet to drop your first 4,000 damage badge, then this video is made perfectly for you. I have been told by hundreds of people that my 4K video guides has helped them drop their first 4,000 damage badge. And so if you're one of those people, then please let me know down in the comments. To anybody else that still has yet to drop their first 4,000 damage game, well then I hope this commentary is the one that helps you get it. Now let's get into it. Now I know this is silver rank, this is about the only content I have right now currently because of my bronze master series. I'm not really playing anything else. But silver rank at the beginning of a new split, meaning that previous platinums are now in silver 2. Makes this rank game as difficult as your average pub game. So you'll see in this match right here, we have 2 teams land with us. This is a very small POI, so that means all 3 of us must group up in the same building together. Got the guns that I needed that I'm very comfortable with, so I decided to push this team right next to me. I'm quickly swung by a Pathfinder right here, so I make my way to the front side of this building, and then I'm met by a Watson. So now I know there are at least 2 enemies in this building. Try to throw my trap down to block the door, but it didn't really work because I suck with Caustic. But it distracted the Watson, and I got some great shots off onto her. Then her Pathy teammate pushes my flank. My teammates had an angle on him and got him really weak for me, and then I finished him off. Really, Scrap? Here's a pro tip for you guys. More often than not, good players and bad players alike will try to push you from your flank side when you're fighting their teammate. So just like I did with that Watson, after I killed her, I immediately turned around to check my flank. We all know that audio is very bad in this game, so it's important to always do that. Unless of course you see 2 enemies in front of you. You can never see what's going on behind you. So if you only have 1 person in front of you and you knock him, take a second to always immediately check your flank. And I promise you, you'll gain more damage and win more of your fights by doing that. So remember at the beginning of this video I said that there were 2 teams here? Well, after I killed that Horizon, remembering that information, I don't stand out in the wide open looting that death box. I go into it quickly, grab what I can, and then return to cover. Because I know they all have sniper angles on me right now. Since this team didn't immediately third party us, this tells me 2 things. They're all posted up sitting on the roofs of these buildings looking at us, or they ran away. But you should always assume and expect the worst. These assumptions that I make help me become the great player that I am today. And in order to drop your first 4,000 damage game, you have to make a lot of these assumptions. You cannot get away with playing absent-minded any longer. The first secret tip to dropping your first 4,000 damage game is to think about everything that you do, and to also start thinking and anticipating about what the enemy may do in response to you. Because being thoughtful like that will help you win more of your fights, which means more damage done, and overall a better gaming experience where you average more damage, more kills, and place higher in the ranks. You guys have all seen my 4K videos by now. I've given you guys all the tips in the world, and if you're still struggling after all of that, that's okay. That's why I'm making this video, to help you become more of a complete player and to start thinking about things that you may not have thought about before, so that you become a better overall player, and in that process is where you'll start to drop more of these 4,000 damage games that you desire. Anyways, back to the commentary. You can see this team here being very annoying against us right now. They seem to have all the snipers and long range in the world, and at this point I'm pretty pissed off. But I know this is easy damage and easy kills right here if we could just fight this team. But I need to be sure to hurry before the team at mill or down beast come and third party us. And so that's exactly what we do. But as soon as I push up this back zipline over here, I get fried immediately. And this is scary for me because now I have to assume that this team is going to push me since I'm weak and I'm alone. But I have a rampart shield blocking this doorway. It's actually the enemy's rampart. But that doorway is my biggest threat right now. And since it's blocked up, means I have enough time to safely heal this Phoenix kit. But even after all of that, this team still doesn't push. They're playing very passive. Another secret tip that I can give you guys is to start pushing these players when they're weak. Here's a perfect example of a team that has me weak as hell and isolated from my team and still doesn't push me. So I don't want to hear from you guys like this is a tip that you already know, because clearly for most of you guys it's something that you don't think about when you're playing the game. Capitalize off the moments of weakness for your enemies. By now, I'm running out of heals, so this tells me that I need to hurry up with this fight. Soon, a rampart will walk in with no audio, right on my teammate's angle, so I didn't expect that. She has me absolutely weak, but at least I was able to do 100 plus damage on her to prevent her from pushing me. I throw a preventative Caustic ult right there, just to make sure that nobody pushes me from that side, because that's the side that their entire team is on. My teammates get a huge knock on this guy, and I try to get the thirst off for my shield, and of course for extra damage, but I wasn't able to. But notice how before I did all of that, my first thought is to immediately trap up this building. I'm anticipating the enemy's push, and to prevent that, I place down my traps. As I full heal up, I now engage with this Wraith right here, who's from a completely different team. That means we got third partied. As soon as I knock the Wraith, I'm now being knuckle clustered, which confirms to me that this is another team. But I want to get this thirst off for extra damage and to make sure that they don't reset. But I never die for my thirst. I simply rotate and get a different angle. Yes, if you didn't know, doing a finisher counts as extra damage as well, but it only counts for their remaining health. If I shoot a knocked player for 30 and they have a maximum health of 100 when they're knocked, and then I pop a finisher, the finisher is only going to give me 70 extra damage. Finishing a player or thirsting a knocked player can only do a maximum damage of 100, but it adds up after a while. Here's another secret tip. When trying to drop your first 4,000 damage game, you need to push every respawn that you hear, and if you can, focus the player that's being revived. Most people when they revive will run away, usually towards a place of safety, which leaves their revived teammate very vulnerable and alone. And if you can get to them quickly enough, that's an extra 150 damage plus 100 damage for a thirst, so a maximum of 250 extra damage. And then at that point you would go and kill the rest of their teammates. It's all about being aggressive and pushing when you have the upper hand. Now we have a team right here where I'll do 700 damage on them without even trying to farm. This is a result of me shooting my weapon first and not allowing the enemy a lot of time to do major damage on me. So I cracked this new castle here, but he pretty much traded with me, so I have to heal up. Once I do heal up, I try to push this Bangalore, who I know is isolated from her teammates right now, but I have to be careful because her teammates are sitting just to the right of her. But I'm okay with this because I'm using her own bang smoke as cover. I actually miss all of my shots and she pretty much cracks me. So I throw a trap down so she can't push me, heal up, and re-engage. After I do heal up, I notice that all three of them are now behind this castle ultimate. That's a perfect situation for the stinky boy. I throw my ultimate on all three of them. This forces them to back up all the way and gives me the opportunity to push and close the gap while they're on the defense. I unfortunately get stunned by his ultimate, which I think is one of the dumbest features in this game. Now, I have this bang really weak, but she runs me right into her two teammates. But I don't push from that same side because I know the Octane's going to what? Try to push from our flank side, just like everybody does. So I meet him there and I take the 1v1 and I kill him. Then I swing around back to the enemy's flank side, knock the Bangalore, who only popped the battery, so she was still very weak, and then my teammate finished off the castle. From this one team alone, I just dropped 700 damage. This is the perfect example of putting together all the secret tips that I've given you and working them into my own gameplay. I'm telling you, if you guys start studying every tip that I give you, you will become a better player. Forget the 4K damage badges. You'll be a master's prep player in no time, but you have to start taking my videos seriously. I literally try to pour out my brain for you guys in hopes that it makes you guys a better player. So please, as usual, leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I want to thank you guys for supporting my channel. So in the next fight we get in, you'll see that this is kind of a chaotic situation, and most of you guys tend to panic in this situation. But in order to drop 4K damage games consistently, you need to know this fourth secret tip. And this tip has to do with not crossing the invisible line, aka not overextending. We'll run up behind this team right here who already has a knocked player, and I quickly knock their second player, the Rampart. And there's a team on high ground with snipers that we have to respect. So notice how when I'm looking for this third player, I never overextend beyond where those two enemy players just were. That's where I draw the invisible line in my mind. And I'm always making sure to keep moving. And I'm making sure of these two things. Why? Because the enemy team just died to that team above them. So if I'm to sit still right there, or if I'm to cross that invisible line, I'm probably going to die, which is exactly what happened to my teammate right here. He never crossed the invisible line, but he stood still and gets knocked as a result. And the best way to drop 4K damage games is to survive. And this is why I'm giving you guys this tip right now. The one thing that players struggle with the most is surviving. And if you aren't surviving, then how do you expect to drop 4K damage games? This is why I put that tip in this video. Also notice how they have a knock on our team, but this team refuses to push us still. Can't be doing that anymore, guys. If you need help with learning how to be aggressive, then go watch my aggressive tips video. Nonetheless, we're able to get a revive on our teammate and push the next fight. I have 2600 damage right now with plenty of teams left, so I'm in a great position right now for my first 4K damage game. So we engage this team right here, but before I overcommit to this fight, I try to open up a window of opportunity to push them. So I'm taking shots at them at long range, looking to do major damage or to get a knock, which would guarantee me a smooth, quick fight. I get some big shots onto the Maggie right here, and then proceed to throw my Caustic ultimate on their roof, force them in their building to give me a free lane to push them. I throw a couple of Caustic traps as the distraction, and then engage in the fight with the Ash right here, who also has blue armor. I get her knocked, and then I approach a new angle, but I couldn't find anybody there, so I go back to my previous angle. I kick the door down and then proceed to one clip the Maggie, and then I thirst the Ash right here, not only to do extra damage, but also so I can gain access into the building. And then I quickly turn the corner to do any damage that I can to this Valk. Another secret tip that I have for you guys is to stop worrying about kills. If your mission is to get your first 4K damage badge, and all you have to do is do damage, you don't need to get kills, but oftentimes they're associated with one another. Make sure that you're shooting at everything that you see. Everything. So we'll skip over to the last fight right now. 3 squads left, and I only need 500 damage to do a 4K damage game. So all I'm trying to do is solidify that. I engage this team and have 2 enemies walk out right in front of me. No, I can't overstay my stay here since there's 2 on 1. So I crack the Valkyrie and jump down immediately. Valkyrie foolishly flies around like a little baby gnat, so you know I had to hit her with the fly swatter. I At the same time I get the kill, I get swung on by a seer who caught me mid-reload, but he didn't get me knocked without me doing major damage to him first. So I communicate that with my team, they finish him off and hit me with a godly revive. At this point we're getting third-partied. But it's only a duo. I pop a battery, then I relocate into the building, killing the last guy on this first team, trapping the door so they can't push his doorway, and then throwing my ultimate whether or not there was a guy on the staircase or not, just to block off that exit. It so happens that there was a rev there, and he gets stuck on the loot box, so I knock him easily. At this point I have every exit covered, so I was going to heal up fully. But then the Watson on the revs team starts to revive him, and I hear that, so I cancel my Phoenix kit, I rush down the staircase, and I one clip her while she's reviving. The last secret tip that I have to give you guys is to start being aggressive, because that's what 4K games are all about, is being aggressive. You guys take way too long with looting, you guys take way too long with your fights and not doing enough damage, you guys take way too long with rotating, and in order to drop more 4,000 damage games, you need to reduce the amount of time that you waste and start being faster with everything that you do. The only reason you haven't dropped your first 4K damage game yet is because of you. Stop making excuses. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bam, ba, bam, bam, bam. Bam, ba, bam, 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 ba, 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 bam, bam, ba, bam, bam, bam. Bam, ba, bam, 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 ba, ba, bam, bam, ba, bam, bam, bam. Bam, ba, bam, 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 ba, 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 bam,